I recently bought this Ryobi Inflator deflator. What model number? Oh, P731. It's got a low pressure side and a high pressure side. So for like air mattresses or car tires. Just outside things. This hose is pretty flimsy, like it's almost paper thin. Have not used it that much. Already got little crinkles in it, so it's probably gonna break. But the good thing is this connector here seems to be a standard because I have another air pump which uses the same connection, so I should be able to get a new better cord for it. So this side inflates, this side deflates if you're actually use the deflator. I don't usually just roll up the air mattress. This side has all your connections for balls and other things and whatever else. It's kind of interesting. First, I didn't understand how this worked. If you turn it over here, it blows and that's pretty self-explanatory. This other side, you have to turn it on with there, and then set your pressure you want it to go to, say 21, and turn it on. Now when I flip this over, it'll start pumping. And since I held my hand over it when I got to 21, it shut off. So if I do that again, it'll go to 21 again, or whatever you set it to. So that's actually a fairly useful feature because this does not pump very fast. So if you're filling up a car tire or something larger, it's going to take a while. So you can just set your pressure and just let it go without having to like squat down and read the gauge while it's running. One thing I did notice was I set this for 33 psi, which is what my car said I needed, and checked it and filled up the tires. The low tire pressure light went off and all that good stuff. Then I checked it with my stick gauge. I just have a cheap one of those, and it was like 4 psi different. It read like 29 psi, and this had said 33. I don't really trust either one of them, to be perfectly honest. I was using the stick thing, but that one was pretty cheap, and this is not exactly the highest quality name brand. It's not like a Snap-on or an expensive tire pressure gauge, so it's going to be off some probably. Really, I should get an expensive gauge and check, but who's got time for that? So anyways, let's see what it looks like on the inside. I have battery plugs in down here. I've got the Energerup batteries in there. These have been working pretty good. So I'm going to break out a screwdriver and take this apart. Alright. So I finally got inside. There's a hidden screw here underneath the label. I thought there was one there. I felt that one first, but that's just a molding thing. Speaking of molding, we have ABS. Nothing fancy at all. This side's pretty crusty, the inside, but let's see. We got soldered connections on all the motors. This weenie little cooling fan. I guess that's going to do something. But then we got the compressor motor over here, geared. We got a plastic connecting rod. So grease on the gears, but just in an open casing. So if it ever runs hard, might want to open it up and put grease on it. Here's the low pressure side. I think I'm going to try to open up that. Well, maybe I will. It's screwed together. Got a blower. So here we've got the pressure transducer runs over from the output of this hose. So that'll read be a little microprocessor, reads the pressure and shuts it off at the right time. This one just runs all the time, so that's just connected to a switch. And the other one's connected, probably triggered through this MOSFET here, which doesn't have a heatsink on it, but might not need it for this size motor. The weenie little cooling fan with no shroud. Oh, you know, it does have a shroud. The shroud's built into the back case just to blow air through this air compressor, because this thing is going to get hot. There's no real good cooling for that. It says actually right on it that you're only supposed to run it for 10 minutes at a time. Giant burrs on the gear. So yeah, this is definitely not something you want to routinely pump up tires with. Like, if you were at why you would ever buy this if you own like a tire shop. Yeah, but anyways, definitely a home gamer thing, and it says right on it actually for household use only. Let's see if I can get into this fan. Well, it looks kind of like a water pump. But anyways, sucks in here, whirls around, blows out there. It's not a very high pressure pump. You can see this has the shrouding there for the airflow. You can see that here. So that provides its curve. But it's good enough for an air mattress. If you like an air mattress really firm, this probably won't do it. If you have one of the really big squishy ones, you might want more pressure in it. But it worked fine for our air mattress. Actually got it a little bit too firm. We went camping this past weekend. Brought this along. Filled up the air mattress. Worked pretty good. Actually, almost got it too firm. We got a non-stretchy air mattress. It's one for hiking. Not for hiking. Who would hike with a giant queen-size air mattress? But not. It's more for like tent camping, car camping. So it's not the giant, thick ones. But it's made of, I believe, polyester fabric. But it's more of a fabric-y than rubber. The rubbery ones are stretchy, and so by the end of the night, they'll end up stretching out over time as you sleep. So you'll end up getting saggy. Even if it's not losing air, they'll sag. But this one doesn't do that, which is nice. But it also means that you have to maybe have a little bit softer to start with. Although a little softer means a little bouncier for the two people on it. So, what can you do? Or a little compressor. That's going the wrong way. This way it should. Wait, no. That's the direction it should go based on the fan blades. And it won't build up any pressure because the end is loose. We just have a basic gear. That's pretty chintzy. We have a plastic piston and connecting rod, and there's no wrist pin even on the piston. It's just flops back and forth in the bore as it goes around, and this bore just appears to be stamped, and they just globbed it full of grease. So that is pretty bad. Oh yeah, and then just a little check valve there you can see there to help it let air in on the downstroke. So there's just two check valves. So this is a pretty darn cheap motor and compressor setup. I had one that I bought for a motorcycle trip that I took apart, and it ran on 12 volts as a plug-in one, and its compressor was a lot better than this. It had, you know, real metal pieces, and it might have even had some heat sinking up here. But this is probably thermal resistant plastic, but it's still plastic. And you still have a plastic connecting rod and gobs of grease. So yeah, like I said, I am kind of curious how long this would run before it had a catastrophic meltdown. Maybe I'll try that, or maybe I won't. It was $50. I guess I'd rather not waste $50. But I'd say this is, I mean, for what I was going to use it for, I think it's worthwhile. It's useful for traveling. We needed it. We were on a road trip, and the car tires went soft, and the low tire pressure light came on and stuff. And that's not the end of the world. Could have found a place to fill it up, a little service station or something, but we had this in the car already for blowing up the air mattress. We were able to just fill it up and keep going. Great for like bike tires, camping, balls, that sort of stuff. But yeah, really low duty stuff. So the quality is about what you'd expect from Ryobi. Functions, nothing to write home about. Probably the only thing that I think is going to break immediately is this hose. It just seems like any minute now it's going to crack and get a hole in it. You could just stuff this end against the air mattress. Or whatever you're inflating, but really I'd like to see a more durable hose. But like I said, you can get aftermarket things. Like I have another inflator which runs on D batteries, which was our old inflator for our air mattress, and the plug plugs right onto here, so it doesn't have a hose with it, but at least it has the adapter, so you can get a better seal. Tire inflator side is really for just topping off tires. Yeah, it's with all plastic parts in there, plastic piston, plastic connecting rod, no wrist pin thing, just gob full of grease to make a seal. Yeah, you got a limited amount of tires you'll be able to blow up with that thing, but it works. It was really useful. I do have a full-size air compressor, but that I could really use a new one. That one's a little bit of a pain. It has a leak in it, so if you leave it shut off, the air slowly leaks out of the tank. I don't really want to leave it plugged in because I don't really trust it not to develop a larger leak and then just run continuously and then burn down my shop from overheating or something. So this works well if I want to blow up a car tire in the driveway. I can just walk right over this, blow it up. The other thing is the air compressor hose is always too short to get drive the car across the lawn to park it in front of the shop at a weird angle. So this is really useful, but yeah, not something you want to use routinely.